I went with Professor Kev Show. As you can see, I have my friend Lucille with us. We're going to talk a little bit about the challenges of starting a STEM club at school. Good morning, my friend. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Professor Kev. Thanks so much for having me.
Always, my friend. So, we talked a little earlier, and you're in the process of starting a STEM club at your school. Before I go there, tell us a little bit about yourself. What should we know about you?
My name's Lucille Diso. I enjoy competing in STEM fairs. STEM, honestly, just everything STEM. Like I recently am getting into like STEM research, things like that. Outside of that, I own my baking business, Bake by Lucille, recently segueing that into Bake for Cause, an initiative connecting companies with causes. And then outside of like those activities, I enjoy spending time with my three younger siblings and also our puppy, Frank.
Seems like you have a pretty busy schedule, my friend. That's for sure. So, what makes you want to start the STEM club at school? Why don't we start there?
Yeah, absolutely. So it all started sort of just by one science fair, honestly, this past spring that I competed in. So, um, following my business and my love for baking, I decided to initiate a food science research project investigating the effect of initial dough temperature on spread ratio and fracture force of chocolate chip cookies, sort of like the why behind refrigerated temperatures make better cookies. So I went to that first science fair, not really even knowing what I was doing, but after a few more, I learned like, wow, this is so fun. Like I love like STEM, and that eventually segued into like the activities that I did over the summer, a STEM fellowship, and also a coding program. Um, but through my experiences, I've realized that like for students in rural communities, sometimes they are lacking like access to these resources and sort of knowledge that they exist. So I was like, it would be so cool if instead of being the only person from my high school competing in the STEM fairs, like if other students knew that these opportunities existed, and then maybe if they had some support helping to get them to that start line of even initiating a research project. So I decided to found a STEM club at my school, aiming to engage middle and high school students in STEM activities, career immersion activities, getting to know the careers that exist in our community, and then hopefully science fair mentoring as the dates get closer in the spring. And then we're going to have monthly meetings where students collaborate in teams on projects.
So this sounds pretty challenging. First, you have to draw students to you and then be able to have the supplies and the ability to teach them about topics in STEM that they care about. Sounds pretty intimidating, my friend.
Yeah, definitely. I think the hardest part of anything is just starting it. Like you can
Amen.
always have an idea, but like how do you put it down on paper and how do you structure it so that it's sustainable for you and works with your schedule and that you don't burn out? So like for me, that meant throughout the summer having a list of companies that I want to reach, knowing that like expecting a no response, but then there's that select few that say yes to sponsoring a meeting. So I emailed probably like 2 to 3 a day. And then maybe I think I skipped on weekends, but just by keeping that schedule, then right now I have a whole list of companies that I've reached out to. And I plan to follow up with all of them because I feel like it's not a set no unless you get like 6 or 7 no's. So like,
No, but it is true. I mean, that's we only met today, but I really like your attitude of, you're going to get no's, but then you're going to get yeses. So if you give up the first time you get a no, you're never going to get anywhere. So would these businesses come in and help, run a meeting? Is that how it would work?
yeah. So I found that the best way I think for students to actually have the motivation to get involved is going to be through incentives. Because I mean, they haven't been a part of a STEM club before. They're going to be staying after school once a month to go to this meeting. Like, what are they getting out of it if there's no like prizes or incentives? So I decided to try to make the meetings as engaging as possible. So I'm hoping to have a company sponsor each monthly meeting. So the meeting structure will be as follows: like 20-50-20 method, which basically means for the first 20 minutes, a guest speaker, ideally from that company that's sponsoring us, will give sort of like it'll be called interview an expert. So like if the topic of the month is civil engineering, they'll interview a civil engineer, which basically just means they can ask the civil engineer the questions they would like, sort of like, what is a day in the life like for you? What are some challenges that you've faced? What activities did you do in high school to get you where you are today? Things like that would be valuable for their future and help them learn more about this career that they could pursue in our community. For the second 50 minutes, it's going to be a collaborative build project based on that topic of the month. For example, if it was civil engineering, they could do a popsicle stick bridge with like hot glue. And then in 50 minutes, teams of middle and high school students will have to work on building that bridge. And then the team, for the last 20 minutes, projects will be tested, winners will be announced. And then the winners will get prizes such as maybe a gift card from a local business, maybe a Texas Roadhouse certificate, maybe some company sponsored swag, things like that, just to keep the kids engaged. And then another thing I really want to emphasize is that like the STEM club is going to be as inclusive as possible. You don't need any prior STEM experience. You don't need to have a certain GPA. It's more about just like engaging students in STEM, like showing them that this exists and that these like careers exist and that they can pursue these careers. There's no limitations to them.
That's amazing, my friend. I love your approach. So, if people want to learn more about the challenges of starting a STEM club, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Well, I haven't started any social medias for my STEM club yet, though I hope to soon
Yep.
as the school year starts. But
Can they
you
just
can
reach
reach out
out
to
to you on
me.
LinkedIn?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, definitely. I'd love to hear from anyone who has any questions.
Someone has already done it, can offer some tips too. So great. Lucille, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to call on the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Yeah, thank you so much.